Welcome to the Between Space, the podcast where emotions are no longer problems to solve, just sensations to feel. I'm Leni, and this space is for the women who feel like they're in between, not broken and not finished, just in the process. Hello and welcome to the Between Space. My name is Leni and I'm so glad that you're here for this first ever episode. Today, in this first episode, I want to talk about why is it so important to stop fixing ourselves and finally step into feeling. But before we dive into, I just want to share a little bit of my personal story because this is directly linked to this episode's topic, but also it will share a little bit of light on why I'm doing what I'm doing, and you might find yourself a little bit in this story, and I'm really sure it will be beneficial for you. So I have been grown up in really not functioning family. My father was an alcoholic and my mom was working but emotionally unavailable. So in this construct, the family dynamic isn't working very well. And I, as a child, was in the situation of codependency. So now we all in codependency as kids because we're depending on our parents. But what often happens in some kind of non-functional family dynamics is that the child often acts as a mediator or is trying to balancing out the bad moods between the parents, or is simply adapting strategies to navigate through the different puddles and explosive minefields as best as possible. And in my case, my dad was teaching me transactional love, so everything I was doing was never good enough. And I only got acceptance and the appreciation, the show of love when I was doing particularly great. So my brain as a child absorbed the information. I'm only receiving love and acceptance when I do something particularly good. But also this means the child brain has stored a pattern of I'm not good enough for who I am, for only for what I'm doing. And I have to do it very well because otherwise I'm not lovable. And as my mom wasn't really available for me, I also received the same message. I am not loved for who I am. And this pattern was underlying my whole life, everything I was doing. And of course, there was a really long time I wasn't aware of this. And it eventually, fast forward, skipped me. And this eventually, fast forward, pushed me into an eating disorder. And you might think now, okay, where's the connection here? But the connection is that I have been told multiple times that I'm looking so beautiful, and I was commented on my physiques because I was a personal trainer. Well, I still am, but I was working out, I was over exercising. This I'm going to keep for another episode, but I was putting all my effort in my looks so that people would like me, people would like to spend time with me, people would like to be around me. And our society nowadays is feeding into that we need to look a certain way because otherwise we're not acceptable. So what has happened is my whole identity was glued to how I look. And at some point, I couldn't do all my things I was doing. So I couldn't go to the gym, I wasn't doing any yoga, and I was very restrictive with my food. So I had disordered eating already and body dysmorphia, but I wasn't in an eating disorder. So once all these mechanisms that I had implemented to somehow manage this flaw that I think I had, that I'm not good for who I am, that I'm not lovable for who I am, all these coping strategies have been taken away from me. And I found myself in a free fall because this mechanism gave me control, that I could control everyone and everyone's reaction towards me by just being nice, looking good. Once this was falling away, I was completely drowning. And the only way for me to deal with it was numbing myself, escaping my body, because this overwhelming feeling of, oh my God, I'm not good enough, who I am, and people are not gonna like me, people are gonna abandon me, was too painful. So this is already my first clue for you, telling you that I didn't want to feel my feelings. So I was trying to escape my body by literally shrinking, disappearing, and also shrinking in the sense of I didn't want to draw too much attention because I didn't feel good in my body. And that was the thing. I was sure the only reason people love me and people like me and people want to be around me. Just taking a short breath to let this sink in, because this is still in my body, this pain and the sadness and all this harm that I was inflicting myself. Because we store everything in the body. And this is the bridge to today's topic, because we need to experience our emotions in our bodies so that then they can be processed. And it's not about fixing something that is wrong, because we can't fix external factors sometimes, because there's so many things that are out of our control. But what we can do is feeling how it affects us instead of trying to escape. Because when we do this, when we numb ourselves from feeling, when we numb ourselves from sensations that are present in our bodies, we not only numbing the unwanted sensations and emotions, we also numb the sensations that we are welcoming, like excitement and joy and love. Because you cannot numb one unwanted side and then you are fully living the other one, the wanted one. That is not working. And so I was, at some point when I realized I need help, I was reading all the books. I was reading books about chakras. I was reading books about childhood patterns. How do they implement in the body? I was doing journaling, meditation, affirmation, you can name it all. And this might sound familiar, right? Before that, when I was at the point where I didn't want to help, I was over exercising. I was exercising until exhaustion. I was over analyzing. I was stuck in my head. And neither of these two options helped me to overcome these challenges. But once I found a way to come back to my body, that was when everything started to shift. So how did I do this? I started a challenge of devoting 40 days every day time to be in my body. And yes, it was super hard. It was really, really hard. And what I did is every day, as mentioned, I devoted a certain amount of time, which varied every day. And what I did also varied. So from my background as personal trainer and yoga teacher, I knew I'm really drawn to movement, but also all the movement I'm teaching, like yoga classes or back in the days when I was doing gym classes, were with music. So I'm very much related to music. So I knew music and movement is the two things that are helping me to be present in the moment. So I was doing just some gentle stretching in the morning, some movements I do know from yoga, or I was playing music and simply was moving my body towards the music and trying for this one song to be really, really present. Later on, I added some breath techniques that I know from yoga, and I explored further techniques so that I've created like a little routine of being in my body, moving my body, breathe in, and afterwards experiencing whatever was coming up after this practice. I journaled it out and I cried a lot. But this is how we process, how we experience and then expel certain emotions that are trapped in the body. Because it's not that we think about them and we kind of like think that we found a solution to mentally free ourselves from certain situations that have left emotional impact. We have to also release this from our body. And yeah, that's how then afterwards I came to become a somatic practitioner and embodiment coach for women. And now I implement all of these practices, not only in my personal practice, which I still do daily, but also I let it flow into my teaching. So whenever I teach a yoga class, when I teach or when I have a personal training client, I work only with women. So when I work with women, I really let this flow into the way I am guiding them in personal training, so that it's not another escape. And this is what I see often when I teach a class, that people, I mean, I have mixed gender classes, but people, they're zoning out of their bodies. They're not present in their body while they're doing what they're doing. And this is so sad, because the reason why we exercise is because we want to feel our bodies. But as mentioned earlier, the more we practice to numb, to pull back, to disassociate from our physical experience in our bodies, the more we need also, the more intensity we need to actually feel our body. So I invite you for a moment to just take a breath and notice how you feel. How does that feel for you right now? How does that land what you just heard? So now we have the complete other aspect that also plays a huge part in it, and that's our nervous system. I'm just going to go briefly into this in today's episode. I will dedicate more episodes to the nervous system in the future, but our nervous system is responsible for our survival. And the only thing our nervous system is programmed to do is to ensure we are staying alive. So just come back to the previous example. If we have taught ourselves, or circumstances have given us this impression that it's not safe to feel our emotions, this is a threat to the nervous system. And whenever we are threatened, when this nervous system detects a threat, it puts us into survival state. And what happened in survival state, we might want to numb. We might want to run away. We might getting ourselves into an argument, because there's this energy that is circulating in our body in this moment. And eventually we need to release it. Other times we just suppress it. But the nervous system is a key player in the healing journey if you want to not only be able to feel your emotions, but also feeling safe in your body, which is the first step of the healing journey. We need to create a safe environment within our bodies so that we can actually safely then feel our emotions and sensations, and not keeping our nervous system in this survival mode. So nervous system regulation, key aspect to coming back to experiencing safely emotions and sensations in the body, so that we then can process experiences that we have, not only mentally, but also physically, because trauma gets trapped in the body. So whenever you're not processing anything that has been in your system, it eventually turns out to become a discomfort and maybe even a dis-ease. So the reason why I want to share all of this with you is that you are not in dis-ease. And dis-ease is not always physical, it's also mental, but these two things going hand in hand. And if you go to therapy, that is a very, very great and super valid tool to resolve experiences that are mentally need processing, but we cannot forget about the processing in the body. So the between space is also present in the nervous system when we are not stuck in fight flight mode or we shutting down, when we just are in this state really in between, where we can just be and eventually be with discomfort for a moment, where we don't have the urge to fix whatever we think is wrong immediately. Because nowadays in our society, everyone is telling you all the time, you need to fix something constantly. Nothing can just be as it is, right? But that is the real outcome of this work, that you have a flexible nervous system, right? So you can be in relaxation, in survival mode. It's like a dance and it regulates itself, but you also increase the capacity of holding discomfort, the between space. When you're neither here nor there, you just are, and you hold yourself. Your body holds yourself, but you feel safe in your body while you do this. So prioritizing safety in your body and safety in your nervous system will create the ability of experience emotions and sensations in your body safely. And therefore, we can discharge this energy that we have maybe hold on even for 20 years. In my case, it was like even longer. And I can honestly say finding my way to this body-based practices really saved my life. And I just want to share this with every woman in the world because I want you to know there is a different way. You don't need to hate your body. Your body is not your enemy. Your body is really here to protect you. And just for a moment, think about how you maybe treat your body in actions and in thoughts and even in words sometimes. And your body is still showing up for you every day as best as she can. And sometimes the body appears to be working against us just because it's not doing what we want her to do. But maybe she's just doing exactly what you need to stay safe. So this approach of body-based practices, nervous system regulation, invites gentleness, patience, and its embodied self-compassion. So if whatever you heard right now resonates with you and you feel your body exhaling, giving you a sign that there is something resonating with you, please subscribe to my podcast, share it, like it, share it to women you think that could benefit from it. And I'm looking forward to see you in the next episode.